Greetings, friends. I want to ask you a question. What is pure religion? What is pure religion? Now think about that for a minute. What do you think pure religion is? Pure religion. Well, if you're struggling to answer this, I want you to turn to James chapter 1, verse 27. It says this: religion that God, our Father, accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. Think about this. This is pure religion. You know, if you go into the Old Testament and New Testament, you'll find many, many places where God says, look, take care of the widows and the orphans. Why? Because they're defenseless. They don't have a husband or a father around to take care of them. And the mandate from God to his community in the Old and New Testament over and over again is take care of the widows and orphans. That way it doesn't surprise me when God says here in James chapter 1, what is pure and undefiled religion? Taking care of widows and orphans. Well, who are these widows and orphans of our day? I think they're the single moms. The single moms and their children. They don't have a husband or a man around. They are fatherless. And in the Bible, God says, I am the father to the widow and the orphans. And he wants us to take care of them because he's standing in the stead for a community where many fathers have packed their bags and left. And that's not right. There are many single moms and with children in the community out here that need our support. Now, you may not realize this, but, you know, before 1960, there were orphanages. And many of them took care of the children. I had a good friend of mine. His father died at 2, and his mother didn't have the money and had to put him in an orphanage for 2 years till she got remarried and had the resources to come and take him out. And let me tell you, my dear friend, you know, was really torn by this. But the orphanage served a purpose. In fact, I grew up in Waco, and there were 2 orphanages when I was in middle school and high school. One was the Methodist home, and one was the Waco home, orphanage. And both of those generated children that didn't have parents, didn't have mothers or fathers. And I knew kids from the Methodist home, the great kids. And now they're all gone. Why? Because in the 60s, that whole system was replaced by the foster care system, the government system. And so there are no more orphanages. They're extinct. In fact, I was just in Waco the other day. I drove around the Waco home and I drove around the Methodist home there. And the buildings are still there, but they're not. And let me tell you what, the foster care system is broken too. If you just go Google it and look it up, you'll find out that in the first year, a child will spend time with 4 different families. And most children will be with up to 15 families in that foster care system. You know what that says to me? They're getting handed around. They're getting passed off. And they never know any continuity. They never know any family. If you Google this fact, 80% of inmates came out of a foster care system. That's how disruptive this thing is. It's a huge money-making process, and I'm not saying foster care parents aren't good people and doing what they want to do, but it's a broken system because these fatherless children don't have parents. They don't have any continuity, any structure. And as a result, they end up going awry. Doesn't serve anybody. We have a fatherless issue in this country, because fathers have taken off and not taken responsibility for children. So who are the widows and orphans today? They're the single moms and their daughters. You know, maternity homes are full of women, you know, about to give birth and need support. My church supported many missions overseas, and we were very sensitive to the need for orphans and widows. And my wife and I vetted several orphanages in Africa and India and China and around in Central America, because there's a great need for people, moms and children, widows and orphans without fathers. And this passage always resonated in my spirit. What is pure and undefiled religion? Taking care of the widows and orphans. So my church in Connecticut was very in tune with this and went out of their way to follow up, to find places where we could help, either maternity homes on this side or orphanages out there. But again, I want to bring you back to that passage. What is pure and undefiled religion? To take care of the widows and the orphans. So what do you do about it? Well, I want you just to look around. I'm sure it doesn't take much. You're going to be able to find a need in your community, wherever you live. You're going to find widows and orphans. Maybe you can do something to help them. Maybe babysit. Maybe lend some money. Maybe give them some food. There are opportunities. Another thing you can do is pray. You can pray and say, Lord, look, show me. Open some doors for me. Show me what it is you want me to do. If this is in fact what is pure and undefiled religion, then we need to pursue it, don't we? I'm sure we do. And I don't, you don't even argue with that. I know you agree with me. So look, maybe you can't save the world, but if you save one person, you've done more than most. And I want to encourage you to think about that, if there's a way. Now, what's the rest of this passage? I want you to focus on this too. It says, keep yourself from being polluted by the world. That's a full-time responsibility for you and for me. So in addition to taking care of the widows and orphans, let's be on track with the Lord and not pollute ourselves by the world we live in, which is pretty polluted, by the way, in so many ways. I hope this has been thoughtful. That's what I'm trying to do, help open some new doors for you, to help you see things maybe in a different way and to benefit you. And if you want to share your comments, hit the button right now on the Facebook page. Comment to me. Tell me what's going on. If you want to reach out to my website, www.paulteskyministries.com, send me a prayer request. I'll answer that prayer request. Sometimes they come in as comments, but I'll answer every one of them myself. And again, I have a YouTube page. It's called YouTube at Paul Teskey Ministries. There's teachings and conferences and testimonies on there. And again, all this is for you. I'm doing this with one thought in mind, to benefit your life in your situation right now as you listen to me. All right? So listen, I hope you have a wonderful day. I want you to ponder this thought about what is pure religion, and roll your sleeves up and do what you can to accommodate God's desire to reach out and help what? Widows and orphans. Go in peace and serve the Lord. And all God's people said, amen.